Going.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Tony, and we're just checking to make sure that we are going to be live right now. Let's take a look and see if it's happening. Should say that we're live. Let me check here. Okay, yeah, we are live. And today, welcome to the OILife channel. My name is Tony Jacobson. I'm just looking all over the place because I'm doing something special today for this live, and I've got a special guest with me. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is legit here and we're seeing what we need to be seeing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good because it came through on the notifications. All right, so thank you for tuning in for all of these videos that I've been doing this month. I'm doing 31 videos in 31 days. I'm so excited to be able to share this with everybody and just talk about like OI stuff, just random things here and there, health, wellness, fitness, like people, and that's what this is all about. This is the very first in a series that I'm calling Osteogenesis Imperfecta, or OILife Spotlight. And it's going to be all about bringing in guests who are fellow OIers who are doing awesome things, and just to shine the spotlight around the OI universe. So today's guest is Jacob Holt, and so we're going to bring in Jacob right now. Jacob, what is going on?
Hey, just hanging out with my pal Tony.
Hey, that's right. So that's Jacob right there. And, oh, my name's not coming up for some reason. Well, that's weird. Okay. Well, never mind. So, Jacob, thank you so much for being a part of this live stream today and being a part of the OILife channel. I appreciate you taking your time to jump on and, talk with me for a little bit here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I wanted to get you on the first spotlight because currently you and I are doing a podcast together, and I met you through podcasting, which happened. Gosh, we've known each other for it's been a few years now because I remember being on the Ability podcast for a while ago, and so I just know you're about it, and I know your love for podcasting, so I wanted to talk about that. And before we get into that, if you can just kind of run down your OI stats for everybody out there. Just what type of OI do you have? How many breaks have you had? Kind of those numbers, just so people can get familiar with it in the OI sense.
I have Osteogenesis Imperfecta type 3. I don't really know how many breaks I've had. My family did do a very good job of counting. It's almost certainly in the hundreds, although that slows down as you get older. But I mean, to give you some color, I was born with like 16 broken bones and 17 healing. So that's nearly 30, or that's more than 30 there. So it's well into the hundreds, but we didn't do a count. I type 3 is considered one of the more severe types, type 2 being the most severe, type 1 being the least severe. And there are 8 types. Just in my lifetime, they've discovered 4 more.
Yeah. There's like 16. There's some crazy number of types,
now?
dude. Yeah. There's some crazy number, or 18. It like keeps going up every year. There's new types found.
Well, some of those later types, it's not necessarily that the symptoms, I guess, are different. It's that the genetic strain is different.
Just the mutation of it is different. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very cool. So, I mean, what it's all about as far as breaking bones, being, having that sense of being careful throughout your life and all that great stuff. So you can definitely relate to people that watch this channel because it's fellow OIers and it's people that, are people that know people that have OI, family members and all those types of things. So you are definitely part of the fam. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Now tell me, have you always had an interest in like radio broadcasting, like from when you were, because podcasting hasn't been around forever. So, I mean, did your love for this kind of thing start when you were younger in radio broadcasting? Did you have an affinity for that?
I've always had an affinity for media in general. And like when I was in like school, I took a lot of media classes on filmmaking and the production process, and I was your typical big dumb nerd. And it became kind of obvious to me that on camera was never going to be my lane. That was never going to be my thing, and that's okay. So where else could I go? You could be behind the camera, or you could do something like podcasting. I got into podcasting because I really enjoyed listening to podcasts. I got to where I really loved that, and I felt like I can do that. I can talk on and on about nothing. So
You
yeah.
can definitely talk about bad movies. We know that
Yes,
for a
yes, I can
fact.
definitely do that.
Um,
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
get
I
to
have
that a
a
little
face
later.
for
Yeah.
radio, so that helps.
Well, see, we're gonna just squash that right now because I've actually got you on video, and I guarantee that you are made for video because you're on video right now, and you look great, my friend. All right.
No. No, it is I don't believe that. I mean, it is 9 o'clock here, Tony. I mean, I
Right.
am
Right.
not this is not me looking at my Sunday best. So I don't I don't want to say you're lying, but
Now, where? Tell everyone where you live.
I live in Kentucky. I live
Okay.
outside of the Louisville area.
Right on. I'm sure there's some people watching that may know where that is.
Mhm.
I definitely don't know where that is.
I mean, Louisville's the biggest city in Kentucky, so I mean,
Okay.
it was
So
very nearly the
close.
capital.
I gotta go there. I have to visit sometime. That's one state I've
Kentucky,
never been
it's
to.
Kentucky's an interesting place because it's kind of in the South, but it never seceded from the Union during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of in this weird north-south gray area.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you've got some cool stuff over there, right? Like in Kentucky.
I mean, define cool. I mean, it depends on how you define cool. I mean, KFC's everywhere now. I don't know if you've noticed, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it depends on how you define cool.
Well, tell me then. Now, I met you through the Ability podcast, and was that your first podcast?
Yes, that's the first. I played around with some stuff beforehand, but it was never published. That was my first published podcast where I was
Yeah.
like, I'm doing it. It's serious. I've done quite a few episodes of that. It's been a little quieter this year, but
Well, let's
yeah,
go.
but
Let's go back a little bit. So, when did you start the Ability podcast?
20, 2015,
Mm-hmm.
2016. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
How does time work? I'd have to look for you. If you give
And
me a second, I can tell you. But it's been quite a while. My first episode was published August 2016. So
okay.
there you go.
And when? So, what made you want to start that podcast? Like, what was the impetus to where you were like, I want to do this.
So I was really interested in doing a podcast, and I was trying to figure out what could I do that's different. Because so my first thought is do a technology podcast, but
Mm-hmm.
the internet has enough white guys talking about technology. I feel like there's enough of those. I don't think there's really anything new I could add to that. So trying to find a space where I could offer something new that's not just me doing the same thing as everybody else. And I was thinking, well, what is special about me? What's different about me that maybe not everybody carries around every day? So I was
Right.
like, well, I know a lot about my condition and being disabled, and I have this point of view. So let's take that into a podcast where I share that point of view with others, but not from myself, but from others. So
Mm-hmm.
that way, not only is the audience learning, but so am I. So we're both getting something out of it. And the entire impetus was in college, I met a young woman who was blind. And being blind is not one of those things where you can just cover your eyes and pretend that you're blind and get the experience. That's not
Right.
what that's like. Being blind is an entire thing, and I learned so much from her on just what life was like being blind, and I wanted to share that with others. This kind of idea of learning that you can't cover your eyes and pretend to be blind more than you can plug your ears and pretend to be deaf.
Right. Right. And so so what was your first episode then? Was it that interview?
My first episode was with my friend Destiny Dyer. She also had OI. I
Mm-hmm.
started kind of in my lane.
Yeah, yeah.
So my first two episodes were people with OI. And then the
Uh-huh.
third episode, that was with Shannon McCaffrey. She was my friend from college who was blind.
Very cool. And now, when you were setting up your podcast, was it easy for you? I mean, did you have all the equipment already? Did you, you were already with a microphone and knowing how to record and like do the podcast, or was there a little learning curve for you there?
The learning was all on the post-production side. I knew how to, I already had this microphone. I didn't have the stand, but I already had the microphone. I already kind of had the technical know-how.
Mm-hmm.
All the learning was in the editing and post-production, because it's one of those things that unless you do it, you can't read a book about that. You just got to sit down and do it and feel it out.
Yeah.
So some of those early episodes aren't my favorite in the editing department. And I'm still learning and getting better. But
Yeah.
but most of the learning was in post production. The original idea was I wanted to sit down in person and actually talk for the podcast, and that
Yeah.
increasingly became not doable. But I really wanted the first episode I recorded was in person. We recorded that in Destiny's house.
Oh, very cool. Now,
Hmm.
do you guys live close to each other?
We did at the time. I
Okay.
think I think we lived maybe 20 miles away.
Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. And what equipment did you use kind of at the beginning? Like what'd you use for your software and all that stuff?
Same stuff I'm using now. So I have this Blue Yeti. So I
Mm-hmm.
did YouTube stuff for a while, just like you did. And so I had this microphone before that, and I've been using that since. Turns out that's been a pretty good investment. The Blue Yeti is still a really good microphone. So it turns out you buy
Yeah.
something good the first time, you don't have to keep upgrading.
That's always the
And
key.
then,
That's the key.
yeah. Although I would say your equipment's not as important as just starting. If you don't have a microphone already, if I wouldn't have had a microphone, I wouldn't.
Oh, I think we froze up. Are you still there? Hello, hello.
And
Are you still there?
oh,
I
yeah, I'm
got
here.
you. Yeah, you froze up for a second there.
Oh.
You were saying if you don't have the equipment, the best equipment, it doesn't matter. Just start.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would never recommend just going out and buying a bunch of equipment. Do a couple episodes first, feel it out, make sure
Mm-hmm.
it's something you want to do. Don't go out and buy $300 worth of equipment and then
Yeah.
decide 2 episodes in you hate it.
And you can
But
definitely do that. I mean, you can record directly into your phone now and get a good enough
mhm,
voice recording to start putting your ideas out there.
definitely,
And what did you
definitely.
use on the back end for post production, like when you were first editing?
Garage Band, and that's what
Oh
I
yeah,
still use as Garage Band. I think it's
yeah,
kind of in that just kind of nice sweet spot of like if it was paid I would pay for it, but I think it's in the sweet spot of I don't need super fancy tools. I'm not doing a million tracks.
right.
It's just, well, it's just voice.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, I think it sounds really good. The Ability podcast, you did really good on the episodes that I had heard. I know we did a version, or I'm sorry, an episode of Ability where we actually talked about, did a movie review, and that was great because you actually brought a bunch or a few of us in. I think it was me. I think Destiny was in that one too, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
It
so it
was
was great.
huge. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, those are. Yeah, I continue with the ability to try to branch out and do just more than the interview format.
Mm-hmm.
While I really like the interview format, I've personally gotten a little bored of it.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to make sure I keep myself interested. Some of the more recent episodes have been more documentary style. So I did an episode on Rick Hansen, the Paralympic athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a really great episode. I listened to it just today because I think
Nice.
it's one of my personal favorites just because I can hear all the effort that went into it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and just so everyone knows that's watching, all of the links to the podcasts that we're mentioning will be in the show notes in the description below, so you'll be able to go and listen to the Ability podcast and the other podcast that we're going to talk about because we're going to talk about the new one too. So now with the Ability podcast, um, I know that we kind of started our podcast this year, so I might as well let's jump into that. We started our podcast this year, and Jacob reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" And I was like, "Sure." Like, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want to talk about? And we decided on, we didn't know what we were going to talk about. We're like, "Hey, let's just like figure it out as we go." And so we started Shorter by the Hour this year. So that's our new podcast, and it's been really cool. I think we're on episode. How many have we
7.
done?
Well, 6 is out. We just recorded 7.
We just
That'll be
recorded
out.
7, literally right before shooting this video and doing this live stream. We recorded our 7th episode, and it's been really good to kind of break format. So can you kind of talk about like what made you want to kind of break format from ability and seeing kind of how that was a niche and how you wanted to do something different?
It comes from me wanting to just branch out and me loving podcasting as a medium and wanting to do more. That there's lots you can do in this medium of podcasting, and there's still a lot more I think you can do that I one day would hope to like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But but it was wanting to do more, so something different, something a little more laid back and fun and more improvisational
Yeah, and I
instead of
think.
ability, which is I think a little more serious. I kind of based ability on Inside the Actor Studio a bit, which
Mm-hmm.
is James Lipton, who died this year, R.I.P. But
Yep.
he's one of my favorites, and I really loved. He's one of my favorite interviewers. He was great.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're doing something that's a bit less serious, a little more fun,
and I think.
especially in these times we live in. More fun is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you really did capture that. From the episodes that I have listened to, I think I've probably listened to them all. From the ones that you've done interviews on, I can definitely, uh, attest to the fact that you're a great interviewer. So I know when I did my episode with you, it was really great because you asked different questions. You really went in on, a little bit deeper than most podcasters would go, possibly.
Yeah, I try to, make sure that the goal is to never ask gotcha questions. So that's one thing I tell people is if I ask a question, you don't answer it, I'll just edit it out because that's not the
Right.
point. The
Yeah, yeah.
point's not TMZ gotcha style. The point is to just, promote understanding and understand who you are as a person.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And, and to share what life is like on the other side, I think is what I say in the intro.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the
And then
goal.
and you definitely saved the TMZ stuff for Shorter by the Hour. So
That's where we
that's
get trashy.
that's where we have a little bit of fun. So Shorter by the Hour. Go ahead and what is your description of Shorter by the Hour?
I would describe it as kind of a variety show with two pals, Jacob Holt and Tony Jacobson, uh, talking about stuff. I guess talking
Just
about
just talking about
whatever's on their
stuff.
mind,
That's right.
whatever's weighing them down, whatever's
Yeah.
holding them up. Uh,
And you're gonna
yeah.
love this new episode we did. This brand new it's episode
Yeah.
7. Yeah.
We basically just complain about a movie for 45 minutes. It's a good time.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. So what are some future things that you'd like to do with podcasting?
I would really like to branch off into fiction content. I feel like that's one place that podcasting hasn't gone yet that I feel like could work.
Hmm.
In the early days of radio, there were lots of different kinds of radio programming, not just nonfiction. And I feel like branching out into fiction work, branching out into things that are even more highly produced.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think that there are lots of neat things that I would like to attempt at some point.
absolutely. And you've got the voices for it. You can do all the voices.
I can do all the voices, yeah. Me and all my great impressions, yeah.
That's for sure. You could do it. Would you want to throw one out at us right now?
Uh,
You don't
I,
have
I,
to. You don't
I
have
don't know
to.
what do you want, like
The
I am
British.
Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Autobots, roll out. Or
I want to hear
hello
British, Jacob.
viewers, I'm Jacob Holt, and welcome to OILife, brought to you by Tony Jacobson. On
I love
tonight's
it.
show, Jacob sprouts some nonsense.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, you definitely. I look forward to seeing what you do in the future, as I'm sure all the viewers, that are watching and are going to watch this replay, definitely check out Jacob's podcast, all of them. Definitely Ability Podcast, and also Shorter by the Hour. You're going to want to listen to that one. And both of the podcasts are on all platforms, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the
So
goal.
you can get them on Apple, Spotify, I don't know, Spotify, Google. Are they on Google?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah, sure. Why not?
And
Why not?
and on Anchor.fm, Shorter by the Hours on Anchor. So again, I'm going to put all the links below in the description. Before
I
we
have a guest.
go,
I have a guest. Hang on.
Oh,
I have a guest.
there she is. Before we go, we're bringing in another guest, Daisy. What up? She can't hear me because the headphones are on, huh?
Yeah. There she is. That's who
Oh,
I've been
she's got her
fighting with.
little Nightmare Before Christmas bow tie.
Yeah, she was groomed today, and they sent her home with this little bow on.
So cute. She's like, "What? Who is this weird person on the screen?"
So this is my dog. She is a 9.5-month-old miniature Schnauzer.
She is adorable. She looks very well groomed. Good job.
well, I didn't do it.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's a good job.
Yeah, I paid somebody else to do it.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Jacob, thank you so much for being the first OILife Spotlight guest. It's
Happy
on.
to be here.
It's on and popping. Make sure you guys check out all of the links in the description to go check out Jacob and his podcast. And Jacob, do you have any final words?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
We're breaking new ground. Hashtag breaking new ground. We're breaking new ground. You get it?
Hashtag breaking new ground.
Unbreakable, but we're breaking new ground.
Yes, we're breaking new ground. All right, so that's it for today. We'll see you on the next video. Doing 31 videos in 31 days the month of October, so make sure you watch this. And over this final little piece, there's going to be some videos and things popping up on the screen so you can watch all the other videos. All right, so thanks, Jacob, again for joining us. And until next time, everybody, get out there and keep breaking barriers, not bones. Talk to you later.